At 02:15 on June 24, 1944, Lieutenant Commander Richard O'Kane tracked 4 Japanese cargo ships through the periscope of USS Tang, calculating firing solutions as the convoy steamed through darkness 3,200 yards ahead. 33 years old, 2 war patrols completed. His mentor was dead. The convoy consisted of 6 large vessels guarded by 16 escort destroyers. O'Kane had learned submarine warfare from Dudley Morton aboard USS Wahoo. Morton taught him tactics that defied Navy doctrine. Attack from inside convoys, not from safe flanks where manuals said submarines belonged. Drive into formations, fire ahead, fire behind. Use chaos as cover. Morton was gone now. Wahoo sank 3 months after O'Kane left to command Tang. 79 men lost in October 1943. The Pacific Fleet's best commander vanished beneath the Sea of Japan. O'Kane inherited more than tactics. He inherited a debt. Tang's first patrol in February had shown promise. 5 ships sunk, 16 torpedoes fired, 16 hits. But the Imperial Japanese Navy was adapting. Convoys traveled with heavier escorts. Captains zigzagged constantly. Depth charges fell faster. Second patrol in April yielded nothing. 0 attacks. Tang rescued 22 downed Navy pilots near Truk during carrier strikes. Important work. 0 tonnage. This third patrol needed results. O'Kane brought Tang into Yellow Sea waters between Korea and China. Japanese logistics routes ran thick here. Ore from Manchuria. Troops to China. Supply convoys steaming south. June 21st, Tang found a lone freighter. Single torpedo at close range. Nanshin Maru went down in 4 minutes. 2 days later, another solo target. O'Kane fired from 750 yards. Nikkien Maru broke in half. But O'Kane wanted bigger prey. Heavily guarded formations that other commanders avoided. Now, at 02:15 on June 24th, he had one. 6 cargo ships. 16 destroyers. Enough tonnage to make history. Tang closed distance. 2,800 yards. 2,400. O'Kane ordered battle stations. Fire control plotted solutions. Torpedomen stood ready. 2,000 yards. O'Kane gave the command. Surface attack. Full speed. Tang broke from darkness straight into the formation. No submarine commander attacked convoys this way. It violated every safety protocol. O'Kane fired 3 torpedoes at the nearest cargo ship, shifted aim, 3 more at the second target. Explosions erupted before he could confirm tracking. 2 cargo vessels burst into flames. Then O'Kane saw something unexpected. 4 ships were burning. Not 2, 4. The torpedo spread had been wider than calculated. His weapons punched through intended targets and struck 2 additional freighters positioned behind them. Tamahoko Maru, Tainan Maru, Nasusan Maru, Kenichi Maru. 16,292 tons destroyed in 90 seconds. Tang dove as escorts converged. Depth charges hammered the hull for 20 minutes. 4 ships in 1 attack. The most devastating single strike any American submarine had achieved. If you want to see how O'Kane turned this into the highest score in submarine history, please hit that like button. It helps us share more forgotten stories. Subscribe if you haven't already. Back to O'Kane. That night changed everything. O'Kane proved Morton's aggressive tactics worked. For the rest of June, Tang hunted without mercy. June 25th, another freighter down. June 30th, 2 kills in 12 hours. By July 3rd, Tang headed home with 10 ships sunk, 39,000 tons. The most successful war patrol ever completed. O'Kane's 4th patrol in August added 5 more vessels. His 5th patrol in September would break every remaining record. But that final mission would end with 24 torpedoes fired, 22 perfect hits, 1 miss. And the last torpedo would curve left at 46 knots and race back toward Tang in the darkness. Tang arrived at Pearl Harbor on July 12, 1944. 10 ships sunk, 39,000 tons. The patrol had lasted 34 days. Admiral Charles Lockwood met O'Kane at the dock. The subpack commander had reviewed every patrol report. No American submarine had ever achieved 10 confirmed kills in a single mission. Lockwood recommended O'Kane for the Navy Cross. But numbers told only part of the story. O'Kane's tactics violated standard doctrine. Submarines were supposed to attack from outside convoy formations, stay at periscope depth, fire from safe distances, dive immediately after launching torpedoes. O'Kane surfaced in the middle of enemy convoys. He fired at point-blank range. He attacked multiple targets before diving. Every rule Morton had broken on Wahoo, O'Kane was breaking on Tang. Some commanders called it reckless. Others called it revolutionary. Tang underwent 3 weeks of maintenance. Fresh torpedoes loaded, engine overhaul completed. New crew members replaced 2 men who requested transfer. O'Kane's aggressive style wasn't for everyone. On August 4th, Tang departed for her 4th war patrol. Destination: Jacksonville home waters off Honshu. This patrol zone was different. Closer to Japan meant heavier air coverage, more destroyer escorts, better trained anti-submarine crews. American submarines that operated near the home islands faced triple the risk of patrol zones farther south. O'Kane didn't care about risk calculations. He cared about tonnage. August 10th, Tang spotted a tanker near Omaezaki. O'Kane fired 3 torpedoes. All 3 missed. The tanker zigzagged unpredictably. Tang dove as escorts approached. First miss of O'Kane's career. It wouldn't be the last. August 11th, another convoy appeared. 2 freighters, 2 escorts. O'Kane fired at the larger freighter. 3 torpedoes hit. The ship exploded so violently that debris landed on Tang's deck. Roko Maru, 6,000 tons. 5 minutes later, O'Kane targeted the second freighter. 2 torpedoes. Both hit. Number 2 Nansatu Maru went down stern first. August 22nd. A patrol yacht appeared through the periscope. Small target. O'Kane fired 1 torpedo. Direct hit. The yacht disintegrated. August 23rd. Tang tracked a large transport. Japanese servicemen in white uniforms lined the superstructure. O'Kane fired 3 torpedoes. 2 hit under the stack. Tsukushi Maru, 8,135 tons. August 25th. Final attack of the patrol. A tanker and escort. O'Kane used his last 3 torpedoes. The tanker, number 8 Nanko Maru, exploded. The escort fled. Tang returned to Pearl Harbor on September 3rd. 5 ships sunk in 1 month. O'Kane's total now stood at 20 ships across 4 patrols. Most submarine commanders completed 6 to 8 war patrols during the entire war. O'Kane had sunk 20 ships in 7 months. Admiral Lockwood offered O'Kane a shore assignment, teaching position at the submarine school, staff job at headquarters, any role that didn't involve getting shot at. O'Kane requested 1 more patrol. Lockwood approved it. Tang would depart September 24th. Destination: Formosa Strait, the most heavily defended water passage in the Western Pacific. O'Kane spent 3 weeks preparing. He studied convoy routes, analyzed Japanese escort patterns, calculated torpedo angles for the narrow strait between Formosa and mainland China. 24 Mark 18 electric torpedoes loaded aboard Tang. The newest model. No wake. Harder for Japanese lookouts to spot. But the Mark 18 had one documented problem. Less than 1% of the time, steering mechanisms failed. When they failed, torpedoes turned in circles. On September 24th, Tang slipped out of Pearl Harbor before dawn. 87 men aboard. Only 9 would see home again. Tang refueled at Midway Island on September 27th. O'Kane reviewed his mission orders one final time. The target area stretched between northwest Formosa and the China coast. Japanese convoy routes funneled through this narrow passage, but reaching the operational zone meant passing through waters the enemy controlled completely. Minefields extended northeast from Formosa for 60 miles. Japanese patrol boats swept the approaches constantly. American submarines that entered this area faced detection rates triple the normal patrol zones. O'Kane had 2 choices: Join a coordinated attack group led by Commander Coy aboard USS Silversides. 3 other submarines would make the passage together, safety in numbers, or go alone. O'Kane chose solo transit. Tang departed midway on September 27th heading west. No contact with other American vessels. No radio communication unless absolutely necessary. Complete radio silence made Tang invisible to Japanese direction-finding stations. For 12 days, Tang navigated enemy-controlled waters. October passed in tense silence. Sonar operators listened for patrol boats. Radar operators scanned for aircraft. The crew rotated 4 hours on watch, 4 hours off. October 10th arrived. Tang reached the operational zone without detection. O'Kane brought the submarine to periscope depth and surveyed the strait. Empty water. No targets. That night at 2200 hours, radar detected multiple contacts. A convoy. O'Kane closed the distance. Through the periscope he counted cargo ships. 2 medium freighters steaming south along the China coast. Tang surfaced. O'Kane ordered battle stations. At 23:30, Tang fired 4 torpedoes. 2 hits on the first freighter. Jashugo erupted in flames. The second freighter, Oitamaru, took 1 torpedo amidships and sank in 6 minutes. 2 ships down. First blood of the 5th Patrol. Tang dove and cleared the area. Japanese escorts dropped depth charges for 40 minutes. None came close. When Tang resurfaced at 0300, the burning wrecks had vanished beneath the surface. For the next 13 days, Tang patrolled the strait. October 11th through October 22nd passed without significant contacts. Small fishing boats, single patrol craft, nothing worth a torpedo. O'Kane pushed Tang deeper into dangerous waters, closer to Formosa, closer to Japanese air bases. The risk increased with every mile north. October 23rd arrived. At 1700 hours, radar detected a massive formation. O'Kane counted the contacts. 3 tankers, 1 transport, 1 freighter. At least 8 escort destroyers, maybe more. The largest convoy Tang had encountered since the Yellow Sea Patrol. O'Kane called the crew to battle stations. This attack would happen at night. Surface engagement. The same tactics that worked in June. But this convoy was different. Heavier escorts, tighter formation. Captains who had survived American submarine attacks before. Tang tracked the convoy for 6 hours. O'Kane plotted approach angles. Fire control calculated solutions for multiple targets. Torpedomen prepared tubes. At 2300 hours, O'Kane gave the order. Surface, full speed. Tang broke from darkness and charged directly into the formation. The night exploded in violence. O'Kane fired at the nearest tanker. 2 torpedoes struck under the stack and engine room. The vessel erupted in flames so bright they illuminated the entire convoy. O'Kane shifted aim. Single torpedo into the stern of the middle tanker. Direct hit. 2 more torpedoes at the farthest tanker. Both struck under the engine space. 3 tankers burning. The attack had lasted 90 seconds. Then a Japanese transport turned directly toward Tang. Full speed, attempting to ram. There was no time to dive. O'Kane ordered emergency maneuvers. Tang's diesel engine screamed as the submarine accelerated hard to port. The Japanese transport loomed 300 yards away, closing fast. Tang turned inside the transport's turning radius. The enemy captain tried to compensate. Too late. The transport's momentum carried it past Tang's stern, missing by less than 50 yards. But the transport's course now aimed directly at one of the burning tankers. The 2 vessels collided with a sound that echoed across the water, metal shrieking against metal. O'Kane didn't wait to watch. He aimed Tang's stern tubes at both crippled ships. 2 torpedoes fired. Both hit. The transport and tanker went down together. 5 ships destroyed in one attack. A destroyer raced toward Tang's position. O'Kane ordered crash dive. Tang submerged in 45 seconds. Depth charges began falling. 37 explosions in 20 minutes. The closest detonation cracked light fixtures in the control room. When silence returned, O'Kane brought Tang back to periscope depth. Dawn approached. The convoy remnants had scattered. Burning oil slicked the water for miles. Tang dove deep and headed east. The crew needed rest. O'Kane needed to count remaining torpedoes. 18 torpedoes fired on the 5th patrol. 6 remaining. October 24th arrived. Tang surfaced at 0600. Morning sun revealed empty water. O'Kane ordered a course change, north along the China coast. At 1400 hours, lookouts spotted smoke on the horizon. Another convoy. O'Kane tracked the formation through the periscope. This convoy was smaller but more heavily escorted. 3 cargo ships, 1 tanker. Multiple destroyers in tight defensive formation. Tang followed at periscope depth throughout the afternoon. O'Kane waited for darkness. Night attacks had worked twice. They would work again. 1800 hours, sunset. 1900 hours, full darkness. 2200 hours, O'Kane ordered battle stations. 2300 hours, Tang surfaced 1500 yards from the convoy. O'Kane aimed at the lead cargo ship. 2 torpedoes fired. Both hit. The freighter broke in half. Tang turned toward the second target. O'Kane fired 2 more torpedoes. One hit the cargo ship's stern. The vessel listed heavily, but remained afloat. 2 torpedoes left. A destroyer detected Tang's position. The escort turned toward the submarine at flank speed. Distance closing. 800 yards. 700. O'Kane aimed Tang's final 2 torpedoes at the charging destroyer. Both weapons launched. Both missed. The destroyer was too close. Too fast. Torpedoes needed time and distance to arm. Tang dove. Depth charges hammered the hull. 53 explosions. The worst barrage of the patrol. Tang survived. But now only empty torpedo tubes remained. O'Kane surfaced 2 hours later. The convoy had escaped. 2 ships damaged, 1 sunk. Not enough. He checked the torpedo room inventory one final time. Every tube empty. Every torpedo expended. No. Wait. The crew had miscounted earlier. 1 Mark 18 torpedo remained in the aft torpedo room. Tube number 8. The last weapon aboard Tang. O'Kane scanned the horizon. Dawn approached in 3 hours. If another convoy appeared, Tang would have one final chance. At 0200 on October 25th, radar detected multiple contacts. 5 ships, heading south. O'Kane called battle stations for the last time. Tang had 1 torpedo left. 1 chance. 1 final attack that would either complete the most successful patrol in submarine warfare history, or end with nothing. O'Kane ordered Tang to surface and close the distance. The last torpedo was already being loaded into Tube 8. Tang closed on the convoy at flank speed. O'Kane identified 5 ships through the periscope. 2 cargo vessels, 2 transports, 1 large tanker. Destroyer escorts flanked the formation. Distance, 2200 yards. O'Kane climbed to the bridge. Night surface attack. The same approach that had worked on October 23rd. Drive into the formation, fire at point-blank range. Use confusion as cover. Tang accelerated. 1800 yards. 1500. The convoy maintained course. No indication they detected the submarine. 1200 yards. O'Kane ordered the first shot. Tube 1 fired. The torpedo ran straight toward the nearest transport. 20 seconds later, an explosion lit the night. The transport's stern lifted from the water as secondary explosions tore through cargo holds. O'Kane shifted aim. The second transport crossed Tang's bow. Tube 2 fired. Direct hit amidships. The transport began listing immediately. 1,000 yards from the convoy center now. The tanker loomed ahead. Largest target remaining. O'Kane aimed for the engine room. Tube 3 fired. The torpedo struck under the stack. Flame erupted 300 feet into the air as aviation fuel ignited. Tang turned hard to port. The two cargo ships steamed parallel to the submarine's new course. Perfect firing position. O'Kane launched tubes 4 and 5 in quick succession. Both torpedoes hit. One cargo ship exploded, the second began sinking bow first. 5 ships hit. 23 torpedoes fired on the patrol. 22 had found targets. 1 miss against the destroyer. But Tube 8 still held 1 Mark 18, the last torpedo aboard Tang. A destroyer escort broke formation and charged Tang's position. Distance, 800 yards. The escort's deck guns opened fire. Shells splashed near Tang's conning tower. O'Kane aimed the final torpedo at the charging destroyer. Fire control calculated the solution. Speed, 26 knots. Range, 700 yards. Bearing, 035 degrees. At 0230 on October 25, 1944, O'Kane gave the order. Fire Tube 8. The Mark 18 torpedo launched. Electric motor engaged. No wake trail. Silent run. For 3 seconds, the weapon tracked perfectly toward the destroyer. Then the torpedo broached the surface. O'Kane watched through binoculars as the weapon's propeller broke above the waterline. The torpedo curved left. Not a gentle turn. A sharp arc back toward Tang. Circular run. O'Kane screamed orders. Emergency power. Full right rudder. Tang began turning hard to starboard. The submarine screws churned water as diesel engines pushed maximum thrust. The torpedo completed its arc, now racing directly at Tang. Distance, 400 yards. Speed, 46 knots. 300 yards. Tang's turn couldn't happen fast enough. The submarine needed 60 seconds to complete the maneuver. The torpedo would reach Tang in 15. 200 yards. Crewmen on the bridge saw it coming, a white phosphorescent trail in the dark water, heading straight for the aft torpedo room. 100 yards. O'Kane ordered everyone to brace. Some men jumped overboard. Others grabbed stanchions. Torpedoman Hayes Trucca watched from the bridge as Tang's own weapon closed the final distance. 50 yards. 20 seconds had elapsed since launch, the same amount of time Tang's other 23 torpedoes had needed to reach their targets. 20 yards. The Mark 18 struck Tang's stern 3 feet below the waterline, directly beside the aft torpedo room where the weapon had been loaded minutes earlier. The explosion tore through 3 compartments instantly. The explosion threw men against bulkheads. Control room personnel felt the impact through steel decking. Lights shattered. Circuit breakers sparked. The stern dropped immediately. Water flooded the aft torpedo room in seconds, then the after engine room, then the maneuvering room. 3 compartments gone before damage control could react. Tang began sinking stern first. 9 officers and men occupied the bridge when the torpedo hit. O'Kane was among them. The force of the explosion hurled 3 men overboard. 6 remained on the bridge as Tang went down. 180 feet of water below. The submarine sank in 45 seconds. Tang hit bottom at 0231, 1 minute after the torpedo struck. The impact sent shock waves through the remaining compartments. Men in the forward sections felt the collision with the sea floor. Of the 9 men thrown from the bridge, only 3 survived in the water long enough to be rescued. O'Kane was one. Lieutenant Lawrence Savadkin was another. Motor machinist's mate Jesse Da Silva made 3. 1 officer escaped from the flooded conning tower. Lieutenant Junior Grade Henry Flanagan fought his way through rising water and burst to the surface. 4 survivors, floating in oil-slicked water. Japanese destroyer escorts closed on their position. Inside Tang, 30 men remained alive in the forward torpedo room. The aft sections had flooded completely. 78 men died in the initial explosion or drowned in the flooded compartments. The 30 survivors faced a choice: stay inside and suffocate when air ran out, or attempt escape from 180 feet down using Momsen lungs. The Momsen lung was an emergency breathing device developed in 1929 after USS S-4 sank with all hands. A rubber bag connected to a mouthpiece. Sailors filled the bag with oxygen, placed the mouthpiece between their teeth, and swam to the surface. The device recycled exhaled breath through a carbon dioxide absorbent. No one had ever successfully escaped a submarine using mumps and lungs in combat conditions. Training scenarios used shallow water, controlled environments. Tang rested at 180 feet, 3 times deeper than any training exercise. The survivors began preparations. They burned classified documents, destroyed code books, opened the forward escape trunk. Then, they waited. A Japanese patrol vessel circled overhead, dropping depth charges. The explosions triggered an electrical fire in the forward battery compartment. Heat intensified. Paint on bulkheads began melting. At 0400, 2 hours after Tang sank, the Japanese patrol vessel moved away. The first man entered the escape trunk. Motor machinist mate Clayton Decker went first. He secured the mumps and lung, flooded the trunk, opened the outer hatch. The pressure equalized. Decker released the buoy line and began ascending. The climb took 12 minutes, 10 feet at a time. Stop, count to 10, continue. Breathing became difficult at 60 feet. The pain passed. At 40 feet, Decker could see moonlight filtering through the water. He broke the surface at 0415, 1 hour 45 minutes after Tang sank. 12 more men followed Decker through the escape trunk. 13 total attempted the ascent. Only 8 reached the surface alive. 5 men died during the climb. Lung ruptures, air embolisms, nitrogen narcosis. By 0600, 9 men floated in the water. O'Kane, Savadkin, Flanagan, De Silva, Decker. Radio technician Floyd Caverly, boatswain's mate William Leibold, torpedoman Hayes Trucka, torpedoman Pete Narawansky. 9 survivors from 87 crew. At 0730, a Japanese destroyer escort arrived. The Japanese destroyer escort Tachikaze pulled the 9 Americans from the water. Sailors hauled them aboard one by one. O'Kane climbed onto the deck last. His legs barely functioned after 8 hours in the ocean. On Tachikaze's deck, Japanese sailors formed a gauntlet. The Americans walked between 2 lines. Fists struck faces. Boots connected with ribs. Clubs hammered shoulders and backs. Then O'Kane saw why. Japanese survivors from the ships Tang had sunk occupied the destroyer. Burned men, wounded men. Sailors pulled from burning tankers and exploding cargo vessels. They recognized the submarine insignia on American uniforms. The beatings intensified. O'Kane later wrote that once he realized the men attacking them were survivors of Tang's torpedoes, the violence became easier to accept. These men had every reason for rage. The beatings continued for 3 hours. Then guards locked the Americans in a storage compartment below deck. No food, no water, no medical treatment. Tachikaze steamed to Formosa. The Americans spent 4 days in the storage hold. On October 29th, guards transferred them to a transport ship bound for Japan. The voyage lasted 2 weeks. November 13th, the transport docked at Yokohama. Guards moved the prisoners to Ofuna Interrogation Center 30 miles southwest of Tokyo. Ofuna was a secret facility. The International Red Cross had no knowledge of its existence. Japan never reported the camp's location or prisoner count. Men sent to Ofuna officially did not exist. The 9 Tang survivors joined 60 other Allied prisoners at Ofuna. Navy pilots shot down over the Pacific. B-29 crewmen captured after bombing raids. Submarine sailors from other lost boats. Interrogations began immediately. Japanese intelligence officers questioned O'Kane for 6 hours daily. They wanted convoy routes, radio frequencies, submarine tactics, recognition codes. O'Kane provided nothing beyond name, rank, and serial number. Interrogators increased pressure. Food rations decreased to 1 bowl of rice per day. Guards prohibited all prisoner communication. Solitary confinement lasted weeks. December arrived. American B-29 bombers appeared over Tokyo almost daily. Ofuna had no air raid shelters. Prisoners remained locked in cells during attacks. Bombs fell within 2 miles of the camp. January 1945 brought transfer orders. Guards moved the Tang survivors from Ofuna to Omori prisoner camp on Tokyo Bay. Omori held 800 Allied prisoners. Conditions were marginally better than Ofuna. 2 rice bowls per day instead of 1. Prisoners could speak to each other. But disease spread through overcrowded barracks. Dysentery, beriberi, pneumonia. Medical supplies did not exist. Men died weekly from malnutrition and untreated infections. O'Kane watched his crew deteriorate. De Silva developed beriberi. Caverly contracted pneumonia. All 9 men lost between 30 and 50 pounds. Spring arrived. American bombing raids increased. B-29s hit Tokyo every night. Fires consumed entire city blocks. Guards became more erratic. Food rations decreased further. Summer brought rumors. Germany had surrendered in May. American forces captured Okinawa in June. Japan faced invasion. August 6th. Guards reported an unusual bombing. 1 aircraft, 1 bomb. Hiroshima destroyed. August 9th. Another single bomb. Nagasaki destroyed. August 15th. Emperor Hirohito announced surrender over radio. The war ended. August 29th. American forces arrived at Omori. Medics examined prisoners. Most required immediate hospitalization. September 2nd. Japan signed surrender documents aboard USS Missouri. September 5th. The 9 Tang survivors boarded a hospital ship bound for Pearl Harbor. They had spent 10 months in Japanese captivity. All 9 survived to see home. But Tang remained on the bottom of the Formosa Strait, with 78 crew members who never escaped. O'Kane returned to the United States in October 1945. Doctors treated him for malnutrition and injury sustained during captivity. He spent 6 weeks at Naval Hospital San Diego. On March 27, 1946, President Harry Truman presented O'Kane with the Medal of Honor in a ceremony on the White House lawn. The citation recognized O'Kane's actions during Tang's final 2 engagements on October 23rd and 24th. The Navy revised Tang's war record using post-war analysis of Japanese shipping logs. Original credit, 31 ships sunk, 227,000 tons. Revised total, 33 ships sunk, 116,454 tons. Tang became the most successful American submarine of World War II, both by number of ships and total tonnage sunk. USS Tautog ranked second with 26 ships. USS Flasher ranked second for tonnage with 100,000 tons. O'Kane ranked number 1 among all American submarine commanders. No other captain matched his record. Tang also received 2 Presidential Unit citations and 4 battle stars for wartime service. O'Kane continued naval service after the war. He commanded submarine tender USS Peleus, testified at Japanese war crimes trials, served as executive officer of USS Nereus, commanded Submarine Division 32, attended Armed Forces Staff College, taught at the Submarine School in New London, commanded submarine tender USS Sperry. He retired as Rear Admiral in 1957. The tactics O'Kane learned from Morton became standard submarine doctrine: surface attacks, aggressive positioning, firing from inside convoy formations. Every submarine commander after 1944 studied Tang's patrol reports. O'Kane wrote 2 books about his service. Clear the Bridge detailed Tang's war patrols. Wahoo documented his time as Morton's executive officer. Both books became required reading at the Naval Academy. The Navy named destroyer USS O'Kane DDG-77 in his honor. The ship commissioned in 1999 and remains in active service. O'Kane died February 16, 1994, at age 83. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Tang's wreck remains undiscovered. The submarine rests in 180 feet of water off the China coast. Salvage attempts never occurred due to political tensions in the Formosa Strait. The National World War II Museum in New Orleans created an interactive exhibit called Final Mission USS Tang Submarine Experience. Visitors enter a recreation of Tang's interior. They receive cards corresponding to one of the 87 crew members. The exhibit depicts the events of October 24th and 25th, including the circular run of the final torpedo. Tang's casualty list includes 78 names: men who died when the torpedo struck, men who drowned in flooded compartments, men who died attempting escape from 180 feet down. The 9 survivors carried those names for the rest of their lives. If this story moved you the way it moved us, do me a favor, hit that like button. Every single like tells YouTube to show this story to more people. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We're rescuing forgotten stories from dusty archives every single day. Stories about submariners who broke records with aggression and courage. Real people, real heroism. Drop a comment right now and tell us where you're watching from. Are you watching from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia? Our community stretches across the entire world. You're not just a viewer, you're part of keeping these memories alive. Tell us your location. Tell us if someone in your family served. Just let us know you're here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for making sure Commander O'Kane and Tang's crew don't disappear into silence. These men deserve to be remembered, and you're helping make that happen.